So let's simplify what all of this is about. Everybody knows what a promissory note is, correct? Everybody thinks they know what a deed of trust is, correct? Okay. So here's the house. Here's a man's home is his castle. See, that's proof. That's how a presumption works in court. And see, I make big money. I made my own big money. There it is. Okay. This is a note. And it used to be like that. Parchment wrapped up. Promissory note. Promissory notes go way back. It's I owe you a promise to pay, whatever you want. We call it a promissory note. Now, there's a house. There's a bank with a boatload of money. So you go to buy a house. And you say, here's my promissory note. You give them the promissory note. They give you the house. We are done. We are done. It's over with. There is nothing else. We are done. Now, that's all legal. You can check that out on June 11th, U.S. District Court of Connecticut. Judge Kravitz wrote a memorandum decision. You'll see that on your desk. Judge Kravitz does not know who I am and has not read my doctrine. Judge Kravitz said, after several pages of dispelling all of the patriot myths, the vapor money, the Fed, everything, comes out in this one little short paragraph that says, basically, the plaintiff just exchanged the promissory note for the check and then exchanged the check for the house. That's perfectly legal. That's it. So June 11th, which is one day short of a month ago, a judge said, everything that I'm trying to teach here is 100% right and legal, and they have no more argument. Perfect timing on that decision. So you went to a home builder. You did it through a broker, mortgage company, a bank, whatever. But you basically went to a home builder and you said, here's my promissory note. And they say, here's the house. We are done. That's it. Whole deal's done. Then fraud starts up. And they start talking about a deed of trust. When they start talking about the deed of trust, they confuse you into believing these are one thing. They were never one thing. And if you know how to read legalese and you know the correct assumptions and presumptions, you know for a fact that these are two different issues. So you give the deed of trust. So they should go like this, but they don't. They go like this. Do you see the problem? How many people see the problem now? When you handed them the deed of, we'll just go back to square one. Thank you. When you handed them the note, they gave you the house. The one thing that nobody will discuss through all of this is what's called money transmitter law. When everybody remembers when those check cashing places started popping up, like you go down, you give them like a car title loan or a check, and they cash it and they hold it. That's all under money transmitter law, what we call currency exchange. A promissory note is currency. The house is currency. That's all you did was a currency exchange. So this deal's done. So when I give them the deed of trust, what by law must they do? They must do this. That's a lawful deal. That is not a lawful deal, and that's what they did, and you fell for it. We're done. That's it. Seminar's over with. You got it. I'll see you the hell later. Guys, that's it. That is 100% exactly what happened, and you fell for it. There is no other concept. The show me the note thing, this is gone. If I sell you my car, can I come out yelling at you that I want to see my car? You better not have painted it pink. You better not have risen it or lowered it or anything. Can I do that? Because I sold it to you. Did you sell them your promissory note for the house? Oh, it's not your concern. It's over with. They wanted us to start yelling and screaming, show me the note, because we'd lose. Because every law or every state has a law on the books that basically states that a foreclosure is reliant and intrinsic to the deed of trust, the power of sale clause in the deed of trust, and has nothing to do with the note. It is not a redemption of the note. You sold the note for the house. That deal is done. Get over it. The problem is you gave them a deed of trust. You've been paying every month. What should they do? No, give you your loan. Give you your loan. You don't want your money back. You want your loan. You gave them a deed of trust. Do we see the problem here? They should have done this. That is it, guys. And because they haven't done that, and that's still there, is this valid? The deed of trust is not valid because it's reliant on both parties specifically performing, which is legalese for do what you're supposed to do in the contract. And speaking of that, Joan and Nancy back there have a disc you may be interested in. I think it's $10. Covers a lot of legal stuff in there that you can cut and paste in your motions. See Laura and Scott and Dave back there. I'd highly advise you get it. We don't have anything to do with that, but you may really want that. Just the ability to cut and paste right on the legal documents helps. So, this deed of trust has all kinds of clauses in it. Are any of them valid? There's nothing in this deed of trust that's valid until they consummate their side of the deal. They can't do anything with that deed of trust till they give you the loan. What's that? Nothing. That's in there. They can't do anything. Nothing means nothing. Everything means everything. The law is very clear on that. This is not enforceable until they give you your loan. So why is all of this happening to you? If you look in your revised statutes in your state and your rules of civil procedure, rules of court, somewhere you're going to discover a clause in there. And it's a really disgusting clause, especially if you're in a non-judicial state. Judicial state's much easier. But in a non-judicial state, when they created this concept, the government was in on it. Don't ever misunderstand that. The government was in on it. They put in there that there is a presumption that the bank is telling the truth. And lawyers are honest, and politicians are ethical, and judges are intelligent. So, with that presumption in the law, if you don't disprove that presumption, then it stands. The law is very clear. You can look at it, USA v. Tweel, Connolly versus General Accounting. Those of us that do legal pleadings use those stare decisis, those precedents quite often. Anything that's unrebutted stands as fact and law for the case. So because the presumption is there by law, if you don't rebut it, the court must operate like the bank has fulfilled all of its duties and is being honest. Do you realize what a problem that is? You better rebut it. You'll also find that in the UCC, does everybody know what the UCC is? Raise of hand. Better yet, if you don't know what the UCC is, raise your hand. I need to know that. Okay, you've got a big problem. Got a real big problem that you need to correct. The UCC is the Uniform Commercial Code. There are well over 100 uniform codes in U.S. law. The UCC deals with commerce. Hence, the UCC, it means Uniform Commercial Code. All of this is based on what in law is called commerce, commercial activity, doing business, contracts, partnerships, everything is in commerce. And the UCC is what dictates how both parties will operate. Well, in the UCC, there's a section that discusses signatures. In any type of litigation, one of the first things that you must do is if you don't do it in the very beginning, you forsake your right in ever doing it. One thing you must do is question the authenticity and validity of any and all signatures. Because once a court case starts, you can't go back and question it. Now, it's important that you question this stuff because that's where you prove a lot of the crimes. So does everybody get this? By the way, did this stuff help? Okay. You're right. Yes. That's the point. They never gave you the money. You never got the loan. No, see? Okay, let me do this again. Pay very close attention. Because if you don't get this, you will always be wrong. If you're going to do that, get married. But here we're going to learn to win. There is the house. I walk up to him and say, nice house. I got a promissory note. You want to trade? And they say, yeah, hell yeah. We are done. We are done. Now, 3 seconds later or 15 years later, you say, hey, I've got a deed of trust. It might pertain to that house. It might pertain to a rose garden. I don't know, but I got a deed of trust. You want to exchange that lump of money, that big old stack of cash there for my deed of trust? And they say, yeah, hell yeah. And you give them the deed of trust, and then they go put it together and they all leave. And you're standing there going, no. See, you're not putting all the lies aside. See, if you don't put everything that you got in your head aside, you're not going to get this. And I'm telling you, it won't work. Okay, I'll go into that, and maybe that will help people. First of all, I'll do it, Monroe. How do we all believe and been brainwashed into believing the system really worked? First of all, like I say, I started this when I was a kid. I mean, this was before puberty, before I found out how to talk to girls. I was learning this stuff. Not effectively, apparently. Can we just stay off that? Well, yeah, but not negative. We think that these two are one document. We believe, because we were programmed And because it was always that way up until the 70s, that the deed of trust and the note were one document.